Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Buddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
Purported leak.
Couple of tough matchups this weekend. Well, that's all for GMA Light.
And up next, all the top stories and latest news right here on ABC News Live, where the news never stops.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
The world is on the brink of war. I need Captain America.
Who you think they talk about?
On my mark.
You want me? Come and get me!
Get tickets now.
We have 96 hours to build a house for a deserving family.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Good morning, America. Fragile ceasefire. Israel blocks thousands of Palestinians from returning to northern Gaza, accusing Hamas of breaching the terms of the deal by withholding a civilian hostage. This after 4 female Israeli hostages at home, and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners are released.
Advancing his agenda, President Trump early since his inauguration, pushing his no tax on tips plan, moving ahead with great taking heat for suddenly firing more than a dozen federal watchdogs.
Confirmation battles. President Trump wins 2 weekend fights, the Senate approving his picks for Homeland Security, and that rare tie-breaking vote for the Defense Secretary. Fight shaping up week for Tulsi Gabbard, his pick for Director of National Intelligence.
ASAP Rocky trial, the case underway against the Grammy-nominated rapper and partner to Rihanna, accused of shooting at a former friend, the evidence prosecutors plan to present, and the claims by the defense he was just carrying a prop gun.
Oscar nominations, snubs, and surprises. A look at who got recognized by the Academy.
Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
And who didn't.
There's a point where self-confidence becomes a kind of insanity.
The questions this morning, including, did Hollywood get it right?
I'm living my best life.
And NFL Conference Championships. GMA previewing the big matchups, Bills against the Chiefs, Commanders versus the Eagles. The fanfare surrounding the games, ESPN's Herm Edwards with his predictions.
It's just been wild.
Plus the die-hard superfans proving age knows no limits when it comes to cheering on your team.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Those superfans born in the 1920s and 30s, how amazing are they? Good morning, America. So good to see you. We're only weeks away now from Super Bowl 59. So much excitement ahead of the 2 conference championship games, especially for fans of Washington and Buffalo, because neither team has made it to the Super Bowl since the early 90s.
Yeah, wow. Some underdog stories could be pretty cool. My phone's going on silent this afternoon, just FYI.
Tonight, 4 Israeli hostages released in a major test for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The emotional moments, the 4 were returned with their families, each racing into the arms of their parents. Hundreds of Palestinian prisoners released, while Israel says Hamas is violating the ceasefire agreement. President Trump's controversial choice for Defense Secretary sworn in today after one of the closest votes in Senate history. His former sister-in-law outraged and speaking out. Friday night massacre. The president firing inspectors general at key government agencies. What happens now that the roles meant to stop waste and abuse are gone?
Does he appoint true watchdogs or does he appoint lapdogs?
New details on mass deportations. 4 military flights taking migrants to Mexico. Major rain coming to LA. It'll help stop the wildfires, but could bring new problems. The ship that got stuck in the ice off Buffalo for days, its crew trapped on board. The all-out race to free it, and the update late today. And burgers with a side of AI. How Wendy's is using new technology at its drive-thrus. Are you no longer speaking to a human?
This is NBC Nightly.
Tonight, confirmed.
I, Pete Hegseth, do solemnly swear.
Pete Hegseth sworn into Trump's cabinet as the nation's 29th defense secretary.
Mr. McConnell, no.
Squeaking by, the vice president forced to break the Senate tie.
And the nomination is confirmed.
All as CBS News learns, the Army is preparing soldiers to deploy to the southern border within the next 24 to 48 hours.
I'm Willie James Inman, traveling with the president in Las Vegas as his administration makes controversial changes to the federal workforce.
Also tonight, looking for relief. Some rain expected in the area around those California wildfires, with the federal response to the devastation under scrutiny.
I'm Elise Preston in Pacific Palisades, California, where homeowners are frustrated with the recovery process.
Plus, freed. 4 Israeli soldiers held by Hamas for more than a year are home with their families tonight. Recall, the potentially dangerous problem for some Kia models. And later, what's in a name? When it comes to an American president, the answer could be cash.
The feeling of awe is why people buy these stockings. Otherwise, they're just pieces of paper with ink on them.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening. Jerika is off. I'm Nancy Chen. We start tonight with President Trump putting his stamp on the federal government with unprecedented speed. And just 6 days in, he's already taking a victory lap with his
Joining us now, the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored, Piers Morgan. Uncensored, I should say. It's now the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored, Piers Morgan. Uncensored, I should say. You've never been centered. But Piers, your thoughts about Trump, too. I'm very curious. You know him personally, and then you're seeing him again be president again. Have you seen a difference?
No question. And I'm so glad, Brian, you played that Rocky quote, the famous speech to his spoiled brat son, when he tells him to get a grip and tells him what winning is all about and how you do it. Because actually what Donald Trump has done is exemplify exactly what Rocky Balboa was saying. You know, life is not about what you hit. It's about how you can get hit, get back up and keep moving forward. And what an example Trump has been. I mean, 2 years ago, he was dead and buried and politically gone. Now, he's the most powerful man in the world again, and he's hit the ground running so hard, I thought Usain Bolt had been running this schedule. It's unbelievable. And watching from London, as I am at the moment, I can only tell you the world reaction is kind of shock and awe in a good way, because we have a pretty limp Labour government over here. And obviously in America, you've just had a very limp 4 years with Joe Biden and the Democrats. And suddenly you've got this surge of extraordinary energy. As somebody who I think, having spoken to a number of times in the last few months, I think he's feeling a sense of getting a second chance twice. Once in his own life, when he survived the assassination attempt, and once professionally to have another go at being president, because the last time, in his last year, it got derailed by the pandemic. And I think you're seeing Donald Trump right now at his absolute ferocious best.
And that is the...
On this Saturday night, happy homecoming. More emotional reunions as another round of Israelis and Palestinians are released as part of the Gaza ceasefire. Why Israel is accusing Hamas of failing to deliver on its side of the deal. Leading the Liberals, candidate Mark Carney snags more major cabinet endorsements, but will they translate into votes? Remembering Bill Wilson, the life and legacy of the indigenous leader who spent decades fighting for change. Plus, a crash course in tobogganing. Canada's longest-running engineering competition slides into Montreal.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
24. Welcome back to Around the World on France 24. This is the latest news roundup from Paris. Israeli forces opened fire on crowds in southern Lebanon, killing at least 15 and injuring over 80. Hundreds of people had been trying to return to their homes on Sunday, which marked the deadline for Israel to withdraw its troops from the area, as was agreed upon in that ceasefire deal with Hezbollah reached last year. Hamas reiterates accusations that Israel is violating the Gaza ceasefire as well by preventing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from returning to their homes in the north. And this over Hamas's refusal to free Israeli hostage Arbel Yehud, as had initially been agreed upon. The militant group, though, is rejecting responsibility for that delay, insisting that she is alive and will eventually be released. And after ruffling feathers with Mexico, Donald Trump's mass deportation plan creates tension with Brazil. The Brazilian Foreign Ministry slamming the White House after dozens of immigrants deported from the U.S. arrived by plane in handcuffs, treatment that Brazil described as degrading and a flagrant violation of their rights. Well, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is indeed growing increasingly fragile as thousands.
Tonight, tens of thousands celebrate Australia Day across the country, while thousands protest, calling for the date to be changed. A woman charged over the death of a 9-year-old boy in Townsville.
He sweeps the line. Perfection.
And 2 sets up, world number 1 Yannick Sinner inches closer to back-to-back Australian Open titles. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Meredith Sheehan. Tens of thousands of people have gathered.
Hello there. Let's check the headline news this hour. South Korean prosecutors have indicted President Yoon Suk-yeol on charges of leading an insurrection with his short-lived martial law decree. This makes Mr. Yoon the first sitting president in South Korea's history to be indicted under detention. The prosecutor's decision comes a day before his detention period was set to end. Insurrection is one of the few charges a South Korean president does not have immunity from. The offense is punishable by life imprisonment or death. Lebanon's health ministry says at least 11 people have been killed after Israeli forces opened fire at residents attempting to return to their homes in the south. The attack comes as the IDF was due to withdraw under the terms of a ceasefire deal with the round-back Hezbollah, which expires today. Israel says its army needs to stay beyond Sunday's deadline as the terms of the ceasefire have not been fully enforced, and accused the Lebanese army for failing to dismantle Hezbollah's military infrastructure. Hamas says it will oppose an idea floated by U.S. President Donald Trump to relocate Gazans to Egypt and Jordan. Militant group Islamic Jihad also called the plan deplorable, saying that forcing Palestinians to leave their land encourages war crimes. Mr. Trump says the Gaza Strip now looks like a demolition site and should be, quote, cleaned out with new housing built in a different location. It's not clear if this signals a change in U.S. policy towards Palestinians. And you are up to date with the latest from the CNA newsroom.
army vehicles were seen heading to the front lines outside Goma on Saturday as fighting between the Congolese military and M23 rebels continues. In a statement, the Congolese army praised its soldiers and the Wazalendo armed group for their determination in fighting M23 rebels. The ongoing fighting, however, has left many residents anxious. For several months now, Suzanne Nwibisi, a housewife in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, has been swapping her coal-burning stove for one that uses recycled oil. The device, designed by a Cameroonian engineer, is powered by waste vehicle oil and solar energy. Many women have lung problems linked to the inhalation of carbon monoxide and dioxide. The gas is released by burning wood, and this is a real public health problem, not just in Cameroon, but in practically every African region where firewood is used in a safer way.
Very good afternoon. This is Sky News Today. It's 2 o'clock, and these are the headlines. Stricter controls on the online sale of knives, as the government says that no stone should be left unturned in the public inquiry into why the Southpaw killer wasn't stopped. The crisis in eastern Congo, the fighting that has forced people from their homes and killed UN peacekeepers, with reports that Rwandan troops have now crossed the border. Clear out the whole thing, Donald Trump's message over Gaza, as he urges Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinians from what he calls a demolition site. He is speaking as thousands of Gazans are forced to wait to return to their homes as Israeli forces continue to block the route to the north of Gaza. Also ahead, the elections in Belarus, with the authoritarian president Alexander Lukashenko all but certain to extend his 3 decades in power. And the campaigners calling for reform to non-disclosure agreements in the entertainment industry after high-profile cases.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.